Michelle, I promise I listened to that one a little bit. Hey, for our focus today, we are looking back at this year in news. First off, the mass shooting in San Bernardino, California was one of the biggest news stories in the U.S. this year, and for good reason. 2015, though, also saw same-sex marriage tolerance become the law of the land. Jamie Yuccas has a look back at the biggest stories of this American year.
The December attack on a holiday party in San Bernardino, California, was the country's worst mass shooting since Sandy Hook Elementary School. 14 people were killed when a radicalized husband and wife team opened fire.
This was an act of terrorism.
Other mass shootings took place at a Lafayette, Louisiana movie theater, a Colorado Springs Planned Parenthood clinic, and a historic black church in Charleston, South Carolina. The suspect in the church shooting posed with Confederate flags, triggering a backlash that led to the flag's removal from State House grounds.
Hands up!
Police-involved deaths of African-American men sparked outrage across the country. In North Charleston, South Carolina, Walter Scott was shot in the back. In Baltimore, Freddie Gray died of spinal injuries in a police van after being taken into police custody. And in Chicago, newly released video of Laquan McDonald's 2014 death touched off community protests and charges of murder against police officers. Racial incidents sparked protests on several college campuses, including the University of Missouri, where the president resigned after the football team refused to play. Boston Marathon bomber Dzhokhar Tsarnaev and Aurora, Colorado movie theater gunman James Holmes were both found guilty. Holmes received 12 life sentences. Tsarnaev got the death penalty. The Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage, prompting celebrations and nuptials nationwide. Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis spent 5 days in jail after refusing to issue licenses because of her religious beliefs. 2 escaped killers in upstate New York triggered a massive manhunt. 3 weeks later, police shot and killed one convict and captured the other. The Freighter ship El Faro and its 33-person crew sank off the Bahamas during a hurricane. 8 people died and more than 200 hurt when a speeding Amtrak train derailed in Philadelphia. California's governor declared a state of emergency as the record drought got worse. And Boston had the most snow ever, more than 110 inches. Pope Francis captivated Americans on his first trip to the States, visiting Washington, D.C., New York, and Philadelphia. The NFL suspended Super Bowl MVP Tom Brady over Deflategate, but a judge later reversed the penalty.
Triple Crown!
An American Pharaoh won the Triple Crown, the first horse to do it in 37 years. Jamie Yuccas, CBS News.
Looking now across the globe, Islamic terrorists launched deadly attacks in Europe and beyond this year, and thousands of migrants died trying to escape war-torn countries. Jonathan Vigliotti has a look at the biggest international events of the year.
Terrorists targeted Paris twice. Gunmen linked to al-Qaeda stormed the newsroom of the provocative newspaper Charlie Hebdo, killing 12 people. Another attacker killed 4 hostages at a Jewish supermarket before police killed him. 10 months later, ISIS terrorists massacred people inside a concert hall, while others set off bombs outside a soccer stadium and gunned down people sitting at cafes. 130 were killed. ISIS claimed another 224 lives when a bomb exploded on a Russian jetliner as it flew over Egypt. The latest round of terror comes as ISIS seizes more territory in Syria and Iraq. The U.S. and its allies launched airstrikes against the terror group, and America sent in 200 special forces. Refugees rushed to get out of the war-torn region. Nearly 1 million migrants escaped to countries like Hungary and Germany. Thousands died trying, including this Syrian toddler who drowned. ISIS-backed attackers also struck twice in Tunisia, killing 22 people in a national museum and gunning down dozens of tourists sunbathing in a resort town.
This was a tragic but avoidable accident.
There was international outrage after the U.S. carried out an airstrike against the Taliban in Afghanistan and mistakenly hit a Doctors Without Borders hospital, killing 30 people. More than 2,000 people died in the annual Hajj pilgrimage, the deadliest stampede ever. Tensions remained high in Israel as Palestinians carried out a wave of stabbing attacks on Jews. A 7.9 magnitude earthquake struck Nepal, killing more than 9,000 people and injuring 23,000. A suicidal pilot slammed a Germanwings plane into the French Alps, killing all 150 people on board. The mystery of the missing Malaysia Flight 370 was solved when a wing washed up off the coast of Africa. World leaders agreed on a climate change deal to get nearly all countries to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions scientists say are warming the planet. And Britain welcomed Prince William and Kate's second child, Princess Charlotte. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, London.
Is up a little bit. Another changing of the guard on late night, The Force Awakens, and Adele breaks records with a simple hello. Suzanne Marquez takes a look at this year in entertainment.
Olympic athlete turned reality TV star Bruce Jenner became Caitlyn Jenner.
It's about all of us accepting one another.
Charlie Sheen revealed he has the AIDS virus.
I'm here to admit that I am, in fact, HIV positive.
Sheen says he was diagnosed 4 years ago, around the time he was fired from the hit CBS sitcom 2.5 Men for his erratic behavior. More than 50 women came forward with accusations of sexual abuse against Bill Cosby dating back decades. Cosby denies the allegations. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner broke up after 10 years of marriage. Rockers Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale also called it quits, but she quickly rebounded with a romance with Blake Shelton, who split from his wife Miranda Lambert. Jennifer Aniston, Cameron Diaz, and Sofia Vergara all got married. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West welcomed their second child, and Sandra Bullock adopted her second. Jennifer Lawrence became the highest paid actress, but criticized Hollywood for still paying her male co-stars more.
Turn your weapons.
She also wrapped up the final installment of the Hunger Games series. Viola Davis became the first African American to win an Emmy for Best Actress in a Drama. And ballerina Misty Copeland became the first female principal dancer with the American Ballet Theater. The smash hit musical Hamilton brought hip-hop to Broadway with a multiracial cast performing the life of founding father Alexander Hamilton. Taylor Swift took on Apple over not paying artists during a 3-month free trial of its streaming service and won. And Adele's long-awaited third album, 25, became the top-selling album of the year in its first week. David Letterman signed off after 33 years of late-night television.
Thank you for everything. You've given me everything.
Stephen Colbert took over as host of The Late Show.
Nothing will stand in our way.
And a blast from the past broke box office records. Members of the original cast of Star Wars reunited for Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Suzanne Marquez, CBS.